Hello and welcome to Goddess Resurrection. My name is Britta and I am your host, and today's episode is Embodying Divine Light, Feminine Energy. Well, we're here. We've made it. We're in the age of Aquarius. Woo! Shoo! As you know, this happened on the 19th of November as Pluto finally left Capricorn and moved into Aquarius. And so now that we are in the age of Aquarius, we are in the time of the goddess. This is the golden age. And it doesn't mean everything is going to be hunky-dory overnight. It doesn't mean the old and the darkness is not going to try to fight for its survival, but it certainly means that the influx of vibrational support and our light family members are really now able to support us in our evolution, in our light embodiment, as well as, of course, as we are shifting into higher levels of consciousness, onto higher timelines, into higher and greater alignment with our light selves, right? We are now going to individually, really, truly anchor in our new earth experience. And so this is a very, very exciting and very blessed time to be here on earth. This is the first time on earth that we are consciously ascending while in human form. Very magical. And of course, the feminine energy is where it's at. The feminine energy that has been suppressed for millennia, the feminine energy that has been suppressed for almost all lifetimes. And that, of course, was so the masculine energy would dominate, right? Now the feminine energy is the key to us, to our ascension, to us reclaiming our true powers. And so I am so happy to see you here, my gorgeous sisters. Thank you for sharing your time and your energy on this platform. Now let's dive in. So the feminine energy, as I've just mentioned, is, of course, as you know, your energy through which you access your soul, your intuition, your higher self, your guidance. That's how you embody your divine light. And this is a process. And it's very important to allow this to be a process. It's very important to allow to be on this journey of embodying more and more and more of your feminine energy. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, the masculine, of course, wants to fix it, wants to solve it right away, like boom, 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 right? That's the masculine energy. And that's appropriate when we're wanting to do something externally. But the feminine energy is an internal process. It is you embodying more and more and more of your true self. And now, the reason why it is a process is also, as I've said before, that we've been so deeply conditioned with masculine energy patterning. And it's not your fault. It's nobody's fault. It's not to blame. It's just the way it is. And so from here, we just want to work with this information, because as long as we can be in the understanding of that it's a process, we can also remain patient with the process. And remember, patience is a quality of the feminine energy. And so from here, I'm going to just jump a little bit into what has been misperceived as the feminine energy, but it isn't. So, for example, when we're feeling strong emotions, right? When we're having strong emotional experiences, when it's not the feminine energy that we're using to be with the emotion, but it's the masculine energy instead, that's when we're throwing tantrums. That's when we're turning into drama queens. That's when we're screaming and crying and pity partying and playing the victim or trying to manipulate, right? So this is when we're acting out the emotion. And as soon as we're acting out the emotion, whether it's thinking into it and blaming this person or blaming this situation or texting or speaking or reacting, acting from this emotion, that is always masculine energy. So in the past, that has been perceived as, oh, that's the feminine, but it's not true. Not the feminine at all. As a matter of fact, it's old ego patterning. When we're in strong emotional purging or cleansing or releasing from the feminine energy, it's with self, right? Remember, feminine energy always is focused on self. So we're feeling strong emotion, and from within the feminine energy, we're now recognizing, okay, this is my signal, this is my sign to be with my emotion. How am I feeling? What am I feeling? Not thinking into it, not projecting it onto the external, but really allowing for the emotions to purge, to arise, to release, and to clear. And then from here, from within the feminine energy, we are then able to understand any and all emotional reactions that may be there, right? Because from the feminine energy, remember, we're always in that wisdom, and the wisdom from our innermost soul self. And then from here, we're able to, not intellectually, not masculine energy, but intuitively sense that, oh, okay, this was an old reaction pattern, or this was an old wounding, or this was an old trauma arising, right? So from the feminine energy, we're always able to recognize from the wisdom, from the deeper truth. The next misperceived way of being is, for example, when women want to be super sexy and flirtatious, right? So when we are flirtatious and we're playing super sexy, or even the black cat, right? Black cat energy, which has been, deemed feminine energy. It's not. None of it is feminine energy. As a matter of fact, black cat energy, or playing black cat, right? Playing hard to get, that's a persona. That's a mask. That's ego. Or, like I said, right, flirting, or, trying to be super sexy. That's also all ego. That's all masculine energy. None of it is feminine energy. Why? Because it's about getting something. As soon as we're trying to get something from the external, as soon as we're trying to get attention or validation, or some kind of ego satisfaction or confidence boost, it's masculine energy, because it's externally focused. Remember, the feminine energy is always an internal experience. The feminine energy never ever does anything to get something from the external. The feminine energy, just by being in the feminine energy, we are naturally sensual, right? Because when we're in our feminine energy, we're not doing it to get attention or approval, get the ego boosted. No, because when we're in our own flow, when we're in our inner alignment and our inner awareness, we're naturally sensual, right? We're natural attractors. We're natural magnets, because the feminine energy is the receiver. So when we are in our feminine energy, we're naturally graceful and beautiful, and movements are generally a little bit slower, right? And so this is feminine energy, and it's super magnetic and super attractive. There does not need to be that external facade of having to play games, right? Especially with that whole black cat talk out there. Be super, super careful of it, because who do you think you'll be attracting when you're wearing a persona or a mask of playing hard to get, or, you know, playing out that sexy femme fatale? You're only going to attract people that are connecting to the ego, that are wanting to play that out, that ego game, right? So it's generally not going to work out to the depth and the true soul connection that as a divine feminine we're looking for, right? Because divine feminine means we're in our divinity, we're in our self-worth, we're in our self-reverence, we're in our self-devotion. And from here, we're done with the games. We're done with the ego satisfaction. We're done, right? Giving our bodies to one-night stands. No divine masculine and no divine feminine is going to feel good about that or pride themselves in that, right? All of that is old ego paradigm, and it has nothing to do with the true divinity of this sacred self worship. The other thing about what oftentimes gets misunderstood is when people pride themselves in having a lot of spiritual knowledge, right? So they sell themselves as, you know, talking the talk, and they know what to say. They've got the lingo down, right? And one would think that they're spiritual. So because they're spiritual now, this means they must be in their feminine energy. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Because again, right, somebody knowing the lingo and somebody having certain information, that's all mental level. That's all mental concept. Mental concept is not feminine energy. Again, it's about the external, versus when we're in our feminine energy, it's a knowing. It's a knowing that addresses each and every moment from the present truth, from the present existence, right? Because when we're looking at intellectual information, it can be adjusted and it can be used, right? And there are many people out there now that have so much spiritual information that they are so good at bypassing, spiritual bypassing, right? They know how to twist and turn it, and you know, it's all ego defense and protection mechanisms, but it sounds so good and it's very blinding to a lot of people. But like I've said, that's not the feminine energy. Because from within the feminine energy, when we are in our feminine energy, when we are listening to our intuition, to our sensory, to our feeling guidance and information, we're able to address each moment, each person, each situation with the according wisdom to the moment, to the situation, to the person, right? Because each and every moment is brand new. Each experience is unique. There is no format any longer that we can fit people, places, and things and experiences into these boxes, right? That's all masculine energy. When we're really in our feminine energy, we are able to address each situation uniquely, as if it's brand new, not letting any and all of the triggers, not letting any and all of the wounding patterning, not letting any and all of the fears, right? Not letting any and all of the, I love these guys, not letting any and all of the old attachment styles, right? Influence and cloud the experience, the vision, the understanding of what is. So when we're in our feminine energy, we are really truly able to see the old influences. We're able to feel the old energies. We're able to feel what shuts down the heart. We're able to feel the reflexes of our old patterning. And we're able to recognize it and be loving and accepting with it because it's just part of the process. And then we're able to breathe through it and feel it and not make anything of it, but just simply let it settle, let it pass, not reacting into it, which will, of course, heal it more and more and more to deeper levels as we're not buying into it anymore. And then from the feminine energy, we're able to really feel how to proceed, how to respond in each and every moment authentically, right? How to respond in regard to our own values and standards and how we're wanting to respond in order to maintain ourselves and our boundaries and our self-love and our self-respect, right? So what I'm trying to say here is pay attention. Pay attention to the ways in which you have thought to live in the feminine energy, which most likely it's not, right? But instead, really relearn your feminine energy, relearn that it's never about the outside, but it's really truly about yourself. And when you are in your inner wisdom, when you are in your inner guidance, when you are in your intuition, you will always feel your way forward. You will always know your way forward. And then from here, as you're not allowing for these old ways, these old patterns, these old reactions, these old perceptions to be what you engage any longer, from here you will begin to embody your feminine energy naturally, just by you recognizing what isn't feminine and not engaging it. And then just by you breathing and connecting more and more and more into your inner awareness, more and more and more into the inner listening, opening yourself to deeper and deeper and deeper levels, right? You will naturally open yourself up more and more and more to your feminine energy. And another big one, another big misperception that is, feminine energy has to feel safe. And so feminines have never felt safe because we've, been a commodity. But I mean, right? We've been bought and sold and raped and brutalized and shushed, and right? So again, feminines have never felt safe. But that's also not the truth any longer. Now in the age of Aquarius, now in this new vibration, the big shift is that you don't have to be vulnerable and feel vulnerable in order for you to be in your feminine energy. You don't have to have a masculine in order for you to feel safe and in order for you to be in your feminine energy. You don't have to have a pit bull in order for you to feel safe to be in your feminine energy. We could literally be in a prison cell and feeling safe within our inner feminine energy, right? And that is so, so, so important to understand and to really kind of wrap your mind around. It is the eternal true self. When we are in our feminine energy, we are infinite being within our feminine energy. There is no such thing as fear. And when we are in our feminine energy and really beginning to embody light, of course, sometimes when we're in deepening relationships, right, we're gonna hit layers of vulnerability where it feels a little scary to love more and to open the heart more, right, and to surrender more. But these moments of vulnerability are not what classifies feminine energy. Not at all. Vulnerability is just a small byproduct of the feminine energy. Generally, being in the feminine energy, it is simply oozing empowerment, oozing strength, oozing clarity, oozing radiance, oozing joy, oozing unconditional acceptance of where everybody and everything is at, but responding from the authentically empowered self as light, as divine being, right? Which that is the protection. Because you'll feel your way. You can foresee, you can foretell situations. You'll have a sense for what could happen here, right? And so in this way, you will always be able to keep yourself safe. It's good to think ahead, but remember, the soul knows everything. The soul knows things that the brain could never, ever, ever know. And so therefore, to trust the intuition and to, have that foresight and feel into people's energies and feel into people's intentions and get a sense for where they're at. How healed is this person? How much density is there still, right? Like all of this is information that we're receiving through the feminine energy. And so therefore, it is really by being in the feminine energy that we are keeping ourselves safe. It is really by being in the feminine energy that we can feel free to live and free to follow our inspired action and free to trust our own process and free to own our journey. And this doesn't mean we're not using the masculine energy. Of course, we're using the masculine energy. Just by being in the body, we're using the masculine energy. Being in the body, me looking at this screen here and talking and sharing information, that's masculine energy. We're using the masculine energy all the time. The switch is by being within the feminine energy. And to speak from the feminine energy, to speak and think from the feminine energy, to begin to live and choose from the feminine energy. That's the switch, not just being masculine and disguising as feminine and keeping the feminine tucked away, but by being in the feminine always and very consciously and very intentionally using the masculine energy, right? Because the masculine energy, remember, is the thinking, is the thoughts we think, it's the words we speak, is the choices we're making, And all of this can only truly be controlled within self by being the witness, by being the observer, by recognizing, okay, is this old patterning? Is this really what I want to think? Is this reaction appropriate? Well, let me consult. Let me consult myself. Let me consult my all-knowing, all-wise self. And that can only happen through the feminine energy, right? So again, just because old conditioning, old patterning feels comfortable or like the right thing to do, or it's been conditioned into us, doesn't mean it's feminine energy. And it's only by being in the feminine energy, which is free of thought, by being in the observer. When we're in the observer, in the witness to ourselves, we're now being in the feminine energy. And from here, we can pick and choose how to think, when to think, what to think. Sorry, my hair is in my eye. From here, we choose what to say and when to say it and how to say it. From here, from this inner observing self, we choose for our light, for our soul, for our peace, for our regulated nervous system, for our grounding, for our energy levels, right? It's from this inner feminine space that life will shift into a brand new experience that is deep and connected and authentic and joyous and fulfilling, right? Because it is the true fulfillment. And most importantly, it's the way in which we feel safe. Because it doesn't matter how much masculine energy we're trying to protect ourselves with. That'll only trip us up. That'll only reenact old patterns and trauma. The more that we're trying to protect ourselves with masculine walls or shutting down the heart to prevent heartache or allowing for fear to control choices, right? That's all masculine energy. And the more that we're doing that, subconsciously thinking that we're protecting ourselves, the more we're out of our feminine energy and really staying in the illusion and really fooling ourselves. And the more that we're understanding that, oh, all I have to have are my boundaries, knowing what goes and what doesn't, knowing what works for me and what doesn't, and communicating that, sharing that, letting people know, or knowing for myself, my own boundaries for myself, right? But just by staying in the feminine energy, just by staying in all of that wisdom and all of that guidance and all of that clarity, we then know what it is that works and doesn't. And from here, from this place, we make the choices from this inner knowing, from this inner wisdom. And of course, knowing our boundaries, knowing our, right, flags, red flags, green flags, right? It's all a mental concept, and it really needs to be backed up by this inner feeling sense, this feeling of rightness. Does this feel right? Does this feel good to me? And we're not asking emotion, right? Emotion is not intuition. We're asking the gut feeling, the gut knowing. Does this still work for me? Is this gonna work out in the long run? Does this feel right? Does this feel good to me? Breathing into it, waiting for that feeling. Is it yes? Is it no? Right? And so the more that we practice being in this inner connection, in this inner presence, in this inner awareness, stronger the communication becomes, the clearer the self-worth and understanding of ourselves and our own patterns and our own energies becomes, and the easier it is to feel safe in self. And of course, now let me just say this quickly. This doesn't mean you need to go walk in a dark alley by yourself in the middle of the night, right? You don't want to be reckless, right? That's not proving to yourself that you can be safe. No, that's ego. Of course, right? We always have to have a sense for what is going to be a positive, what is going to be a light, what is going to be an illuminating choice, and what isn't. What is choosing for my light? What is going to serve my highest light? And that's another question we could ask, right? Is this going to serve my highest light? Is this going to serve my highest timeline? Is this going to serve my highest purpose, potential, right? But other than that, we're rewriting life as we know it. And the author comes from within your feminine energy. And this is how slowly but surely you can see how it's a process. You can see how it's layering, right? There's so much to it, but it is a really, really invigorating journey. And the more that you are working with yourself and getting to know yourself and observing yourself and really staying in this inner, and from here, you're now raising your vibration and you're clearing your energy space and you're just bringing in more light naturally and intuitively. And then from here, you're manifesting your life from the inside out. Right? That's the age of Aquarius. We're no longer manifesting in the old ways. We're no longer manifesting from the ego or the masculine energy. We are now manifesting from the inside out, being the vibration, creating the vibration within of worth, of self-love, of self-respect, right? Of all of this clarity, the inner workings, which raises the vibration, and that imprints onto the illusion, manifesting that which we are within. Yay! Thank you, my gorgeous sisters, for your love, for your presence here on this platform. Thank you for your light that you are shining so gorgeously onto this planet. And as always, I am sending love and light blessings to you and yours. Hugs and kisses. Ciao for now.